Isabelle, welcome to Raw Talks at the IGF AGM. Can you name some examples of successful local content development?
Employment is probably the low-hanging fruit, where you have a lot of good stories or successful policies that countries have put in place. You have countries like, for example, Ghana that have put requirements, right, where indeed, if you look at various levels of skills, not necessarily the low to mid skills, but even medium and high skill labor, a number of people, South Africa, you have countries where the policies have actually worked well to scale up the participation of labor. Economic linkages, both upstream and downstream, the picture is a little bit mixed because if the policy is done in a way that we are not sure whether there is capability. So if it's driven by just a target set there, you might not have a lot of successes. So it really depends on the criteria, that the conditions that exist in the country. Maybe one thing I should also say about local content. Local content is not necessarily driven by government. This is something that people tend to forget. 90% of local content is done, 90% of resource-rich countries, so 9 out of 10, have a local content policy. So many of them have local content without knowing it. They're doing local content because it can be privately driven.
While important, the scale of opportunities in local content from a single company is often in the tens of millions rather than in the hundreds of millions. Can local content from mining support wider industrialization?
Diversification is a national goal. It's not the goal of the mining industry to diversify the economy. But so that said, whatever initiative that is being done between the mining company and the suppliers, that can be scaled up, because the moment you have the foundations, the basis for supply chain, business will flow in. The other thing is that a number of the products that the mining industry use has multiple uses. It has uses for other industry, for the other auto industry. If you're looking at electric cables, you can use this for the construction sector. That's, to me, the core anchor to the broader picture. And services is the same. If you have somebody who's running a construction company after the mine is over, well, very well in developing countries, construction boom is, so this can be needed for infrastructure, this can be needed for the broader construction sector. So definitely creating the capabilities, be it from the suppliers themselves or for the industry that you're trying to encourage through supply chains, is a good basis for diversification. There's no doubt about that. The question is, if you're doing it on things that are just too mining specific, then if technology changed, that thing might be totally outdated.
Speaking of technology, mining is on the brink of major changes and is already happening with increasing automation. How will that affect local content? You
can work with the industry, because technology, you don't wake up the next day and technology is there. So there is a process of preparation, both from the side of industry, which has to be mirrored with government. We've gone through Industrial Revolution number 1, number 2, we're now at number 4. So that issue of creative destruction, people losing, people winning, you need to prepare people for that. So it will be an issue. I don't want to say that it will be all negative, because there will definitely be negative. The person who's going to lose his job, and if it's an unskilled person, you will have to find an alternative livelihood for those people. So, and on the other side, those who are coming on the job market, high-skilled people, will probably be thrilled at being able to, sit in a super comfortable air-conditioned office in capital behind a joystick, rather than having to bear the 50 degrees temperature. If you're in the desert in Australia, it's more comfortable for you. So, yeah, what I mean is that definitely there will be implications, and probably the negative impacts will be higher on the lower income countries and the ones that are more dependent on mining. But it's a question of preparedness, I think.
Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.